Hey everyone! Welcome to Update X24H, your go-to channel for the latest news, hottest dramas, breaking stories, and all the buzz from the world of entertainment. We're here to keep you updated, entertained, and always in the loop. Hit that subscribe button and join our growing family, because here at Update X24H, we bring you the news that matters, the drama you love, and the stories you can't miss. Thanks for being part of our community. Let's stay connected, stay updated, and keep the good vibes rolling. In a world where fame often hides the truth behind flawless smiles, one farewell shattered that illusion completely. When Menglong and Xing Fei stood face to face for what would become their final moment together, the silence spoke louder than any dialogue they had ever performed on screen. It wasn't a scripted scene, it was real, raw, and heartbreakingly human. And in that instant, millions around the world held their breath, realizing they were witnessing not just the end of a love story, but the beginning of a legend. From the moment Menglong and Xing Fei first met on set, something indefinable seemed to connect them. It was not the forced chemistry of two professionals acting out a script, but a quiet recognition that they understood each other on a level words could not reach. During rehearsals, their movements began to flow naturally, as if they had danced together in another lifetime. Between takes, their laughter carried a softness that no camera could fully capture. He would adjust the collar of her costume so it sat perfectly. She would remind him to rest between scenes. These were small, almost invisible gestures, yet they spoke of a tenderness that audiences could sense long before either of them acknowledged it aloud. As their drama became a national sensation, their private bond grew stronger, but so did the invisible walls closing in around them. Fame, with all its glittering promises, also came with an unforgiving spotlight. Every glance, every smile, every word they shared was analyzed and repeated by millions. What once felt natural began to feel dangerous. To love openly meant to risk losing control of their own story. Yet, even within the noise of interviews, photo shoots, and endless travel, they found moments of stillness. A shared look across a crowded room, a message left unsent but understood. There were times when exhaustion and misunderstanding threatened to break the fragile balance between them. The demands of their careers, the pressure from management, and the expectations of fans left little room for personal truth. Still, they tried to protect the small sacred space they had built together. In a world that applauds perfection, they dared to be real. Their connection became less about romance and more about courage. The courage to care deeply when the world expected detachment. The courage to hold on to sincerity when everything around them was rehearsed. That period of quiet struggle defined them more than any scene they ever played. It was the chapter where love met resilience, where affection was tested by the price of fame. And although they rarely spoke about it, those who looked closely could see it in their eyes. Two souls trying to keep a piece of truth alive in a world that constantly demanded illusion. It was supposed to be an ordinary public appearance, another glamorous event in the endless rhythm of celebrity life. Yet, when Menglong and Xing Fei walked onto that stage, the air itself seemed to change. The crowd fell silent as though instinctively understanding that something far more personal was unfolding before them. The bright lights of the cameras turned softer, the murmurs faded, and for a fleeting moment, time slowed to a heartbeat. Their eyes met, and in that quiet gaze, 1,000 memories passed between them. No words were spoken, yet it felt as if their souls were having the conversation their mouths could no longer carry. Menglong stood still, his usual calmness trembling under the weight of emotion. He smiled faintly, not the practiced, charming smile fans knew so well, but one filled with gratitude and unspoken grief. Xing Fei's eyes glistened, her expression caught between tenderness and pain. It was a look of someone who had loved deeply and understood that love was about to become a memory. In that instant, their connection transcended the glittering world they lived in. It became something painfully human, something every person who has ever lost love could recognize. As the cameras clicked, they seemed unaware of the crowd. It was as though they were back in that first rehearsal, when everything had begun, two people standing close, caught between what was real and what was imagined. Only now, the stage had become a farewell ground. The way Menglong reached out, almost but not quite touching her hand, revealed more emotion than any scripted line ever could. Xing Fei's subtle nod, her trembling lips forming a smile she could barely hold, was her silent acceptance that some stories must end even when the heart is unwilling. Around them, whispers spread like ripples in water. Some fans began to cry, unable to bear the quiet agony of the moment. Others clasped their hands to their chests, sensing that they were witnessing the end of something beautiful. It was not the dramatic ending of a film but a painfully honest goodbye, the kind that lingers in memory long after the curtain falls. And when they finally turned away, the distance between them seemed infinite. Menglong looked down for a brief second, as though gathering strength to walk away. Xing Fei kept her eyes fixed on him, committing the image to her heart before it disappeared into the blur of flashes and noise. Their final glance was both an ending and a promise, a wordless assurance that even if they could no longer share the same path, they would carry each other in memory. When the event ended, the videos of that encounter spread like wildfire. Viewers replayed the moment endlessly, searching for meaning in every look, every breath. Many said they could feel the love still there, unspoken yet undeniable. It was a scene that blurred the line between art and life, between fiction and truth, a brief, shining fragment of humanity in the midst of the show. In that one moment, Menglong and Xing Fei reminded the world that love, when real, does not fade with distance or end with goodbye. It simply learns to exist in silence. In the days that followed their final encounter, the world seemed quieter, as though the noise of entertainment had paused to breathe. Across continents, fans gathered online not just to mourn but to remember. They replayed old interviews where laughter flowed easily, revisited behind-the-scenes clips filled with teasing glances, and shared photos that once radiated simple joy. What was once just another celebrity pairing had now transformed into something timeless, a reflection of love's fragility and the beauty found within loss. It was no longer about fame or gossip. It was about how two souls had met, changed each other, and left behind an imprint that could not be erased. As the days turned into weeks, the online tributes began to evolve. What started as sadness became a form of quiet gratitude. People began writing about their own memories of love and parting, as if Menglong and Xing Fei's story had unlocked something within them. They were no longer spectators but participants in a collective emotion that stretched far beyond borders. Each post, each message carried the same truth, that genuine connection, no matter how brief, has the power to change lives. And though the world could only watch from afar, everyone understood that what they had witnessed was not tragedy, but transformation. Meanwhile, those who had known them personally spoke softly of their grace. There was no resentment, no scandal, no bitterness, only respect. Menglong returned to his craft with a quiet intensity, pouring unspoken feelings into every role he played. His performances carried a depth that audiences could sense, even if they didn't know why. Xing Fei too found her strength in motion, channeling sorrow into purpose. In her later interviews, she often smiled gently when asked about him, offering no details but allowing a silence heavy with meaning. Both of them seemed to understand that love's truest form is not possession but remembrance. Through their silence, they taught an unintentional lesson, that closure does not always require words. Sometimes it is found in acceptance, in choosing peace over pride, dignity over drama. Their story began as a romance admired by millions, but ended as a meditation on maturity. People who had once watched them for entertainment now looked to them for wisdom. They became living symbols of how to let go without hatred, how to move forward while keeping compassion alive. As time went on, the sadness softened into reverence. Fans stopped asking if they would reunite, and instead started to thank them for what they had already shared. The love that once belonged to two individuals had become something collective, something enduring. It was as if their final goodbye had rewritten the meaning of endings themselves, proving that love can survive separation, and memory can become a home where affection continues to live. In that quiet aftermath, the world realized that some stories never fade. They simply change form, echoing softly in the hearts of those who believe that beauty can still exist, even in goodbye. Recently, fans began a quiet movement online called Letters to Long and Fei. Thousands of people from different countries wrote digital letters about the lessons this love story taught them: courage, kindness, forgiveness. Some said they finally reached out to people they had once lost. Others said they learned to cherish the present more deeply. In a way, Menglong and Xing Fei unknowingly healed hearts far beyond their own. Because when love ends beautifully, it doesn't vanish. It transforms into hope for everyone who witnesses it. Their final farewell wasn't just an ending. It was a mirror reflecting the truth about love, fragile, powerful, and eternal in memory. Even if fate never brings them back together, their story will continue to inspire millions to love wholeheartedly, to forgive freely, and to live sincerely. If this story touched you, don't forget to subscribe to Update X24H, where we bring you real stories that move the heart and celebrate the spirit of humanity. Thank you for watching, and remember, sometimes the most beautiful goodbyes leave behind the most unforgettable love.